Hello, I'm Ray in the radio workshop again. R1155 Lancaster bomber receiver. There we are. I did go back to Clapham Woods for a third time. It wasn't the next day, it was a good few months later. Quite a few months. I can't remember what time of year. I think it must have been around autumn or something. Bear in mind this is a long time ago. I did the usual. I parked my car, I walked up the quite a wide track and found the clearing, went to the clearing, no one there, nothing. The girl wasn't there, nothing at all. All rather disappointing in one way, but pleasing in another way, because I got to the stage where I wanted to see the girl again, but I didn't want to, if you're with me. So I sat on the log for a little while, looked around, waited, and then I was quite pleased. I thought, right, that's it, I'm off. I stood up. Now I remember this vividly. I stood up, just turned to go, and there she was. She was standing there, 2-3 yards in front of me. What happened then? The reason I was a little bit unsure about telling this part of the story was because it's weird. I stood there facing her. I started shaking. You know, the moment I saw her, I started shaking. The usual stuff, hairs on the back of my neck standing up. Didn't like it. Wish I hadn't gone there at all. Too late to change my mind. There she is. I just said hello. I don't know why. I said hello. She said hello. And I sat down. I just sat back down on the log. And I don't know. It was as if I'd gone to sleep. It was like a dream. Okay, I sat back down on the log. Everything sort of went dark, black, I suppose, like I'd gone to sleep or passed out or whatever. And I was standing in front of a heavy, like a doorway, with a heavy burgundy colour velvet curtain. This heavy velvet curtain in front of me in this doorway. And I just pushed it aside like that and looked in. I was looking into a pub, okay? Not a modern pub with fruit machines and jukebox and all that. A pub, I don't know, 150 years ago. I don't know what pubs looked like, but floorboards. It was perfectly clear. You know, I mean, looking back, I wasn't there, but I was there. I don't know whether it was a dream or whether I'd gone to sleep or what had happened. Make up your own mind about that. What I'm thinking is the girl had somehow taken me to her world. I don't know. Bear in mind, I'd asked her out for a drink before. In one of the other videos I mentioned that, the last one I think. So perhaps we were going to a pub for a drink. I couldn't see her at the time. I assumed she was behind me. But I'm looking into this pub. It's pretty busy. There's a lot of people in there, dressed like, I don't know what, old farmers. I don't mean smocks. But old farmer type, country type people, all, it was loud, all shouting and drinking beer, and there were some, women there. What were they, wenches or whatever they were called? You sort of see the kind of scene that I was looking at. There was a bar, sort of like the old wooden bar, barrels behind the bar, wooden barrels. I remember that. The whole scene. Even now is perfectly clear in my mind. I can see everything. There was a doorway over there. There were people. I just sort of stood in this doorway. In fact, the velvet curtain went behind me, so I must have been in a bit because the velvet curtain closed behind me. And I'm just looking round. No one seemed to see me. No one took any notice of me, except for one man. He looked over. He was drinking, talking to his friend. He looked over like that, and I remember he slopped his drink a bit, and he looked really sort of stunned to see me. Stunned, frightened, surprised, I don't know what, but well, amazed. Thinking back to what happened afterwards, in the later days, I wonder whether he had thought he was looking at a ghost. I was appearing as a ghost to him or something. That kind of, I was going to say kind of made sense. None of it makes sense, but that sort of fitted in. It seemed that no one else could see me, and if they did see me, they weren't taking any notice of me. I do remember being dressed in the same clothes. I hadn't changed clothes or anything. I still had my jeans, my t-shirt, and whatever else, modern day clothes. So that he obviously saw me, and that's probably what threw him. Like, what's this? Who is this? It's a ghost. He then came towards me, and I don't know what he was saying. He was sort of country, but not sort of, oh, army man, but like that. And I don't know what he was saying. Bear in mind, he was also very drunk, which frightened me. He was a big man, and he was shouting at me, and it frightened me. Then the girl, I mustn't just keep calling her the girl, Elizabeth, because I'd actually got her name the last time. She stepped between him and me. She must have been behind me. She stepped between him and me, and she said, I don't know what she said, but she said something to him, and he went back to his friend, and he kept looking over, like that, kept looking over. I don't know, it was all very weird. What happened next? She took my hand, we went over to a corner, right over the other side of the pub, where there was this old wooden table. You can imagine what it's all like 100, or more than 100 years ago, because 100 years was only, 1916, 1917. So it was way before then. It might have been 200 years. I must have a look up, actually, on the internet, see what pubs, then people must remember what pubs look like. I don't mean remember, but know from history and the rest of it what pubs looked like in those days. So, we went over and sat at this table, and she got me a beer. This woman came round, a big fat thing, with the sort of white hat thing, and I don't know, you picture the scene. She came over, and I don't know what they were saying, but anyway, this woman gave me a beer. It was disgusting. I remember I tasted it. It was disgusting stuff, absolutely disgusting. I don't know. Nothing like the beer we're used to these days. And I just sat there with Elizabeth, just looking at the people and looking around the pub. I said to her, where are we? What's happening? I can't remember my exact words. Where are we? What's happening? Who are these people? I was in the woods, sitting on the log. What's going on? And she just smiled. When I said that the woman gave me a beer, Elizabeth asked her for it, and the woman, I said, gave me the beer. I don't think she could see me because she put it down in front of Elizabeth. I don't think she could see me. She didn't look at me, no eye contact, didn't acknowledge me or anything. So I could just only assume she didn't see me. Anyway, Elizabeth didn't have a drink. Perhaps the woman thought it was for her, I don't know. And she didn't pay for it either, so I don't know what the situation was there. Would be interesting to find out how much a pint of beer was back in whatever day it was. I wasn't frightened as such. I was wary, like what's going on, especially after this bloke had almost was about to attack me, or I thought was about to attack me. I was wary. Elizabeth wasn't answering questions. I don't know how long we sat there for. She wasn't saying anything. I didn't say anything. I'm just looking round at this amazing pub was it called pubs or inns in those days? We'll call it a pub, for want of a better word. I'm just looking round at it. I found myself looking round at strange things, like how the walls were made, how the floor was made, how the table was made. Because it was like being in a museum. Some of these working museums where you can look round. They've got machinery and stuff working from the old days, and some of them will have a house with the bedrooms, the kitchens, and that all set up exactly as they were. Some will have a pub. I can't remember where it was. I went into one. Had a pub set up from, I don't know, late 1800s or whatever. But this was before that, before the late 1800s, I'm sure. So I'm spending a lot of my time looking around, just studying the kind of history, really. After a while, I started to think I want to get back to where I was. I wanted to be in the pub where my friends were, not this sort of strange place where I didn't know where it was. I wanted to go home. I wanted to get back to the woods, back to my car. And I started talking to her. I said, look, I must go now. I need to go. And she said, no, 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 no. I remember saying, no, 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 no. And I was saying, yes, yes, I must go. And I stood up. I didn't drink the beer, it was filthy. She stood up and she took my hand. Her hand was cold. She was always cold. She took my hand, led me through this door. She opened this door, led me into this sort of dark room. I mean, everywhere was dark. I don't know, the lighting was called, well, they had candles, paraffin things, you know, it wasn't even gas lighting. I don't know whether, I don't think it was a pub in a town or a city. I mean, possibly a town, but like a village. I don't think it was like a city pub. That's only my sort of guessing, really. We went into this sort of back room, and there was this kind of bed thing, and I assumed that, you know, that it was someone, like someone where they live. Perhaps it was the landlord's place or something. And she sat me down on this bed, and she started kissing me. And I didn't like it. I mean, okay, bearing in mind I'm a young man, I do like that sort of thing. But this was different. This was totally different. I didn't like it at all. And I said, no, I want to go back. She was all over me. And I'm saying, no, 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 you know, I've got one of my heads. No, not like that, seriously. She was all over me and I just didn't like it. I wanted to go. I could see a door in the back of this little room we were in, which I hoped led to outside. So I left her there on this awful old bed. The mattress, well, it was like full of straw or hay or whatever they used in those days. It was just a sack, basically. I had just headed for this door. I opened this door and went outside, and I found myself back in the woods. In the clearing where I was. There's the log. It's still just about daylight. And I don't know, I'm sort of looking around thinking, what is going on here? I turned to look back into the room through the doorway. The doorway wasn't there. She was standing there. And she was saying, come, come. You know, and I said, no. She said to me, she said that she wanted me to be with her always. Forever was the word, that was it. Forever with me. She said, forever with me. And I said, no. What I did then was I left. I said no, and I left. And what I thought as I was heading back towards my car, she wanted me to go to her world, wherever it was, you know, the spirit world, call it what you like. She wanted me to go there forever with her. And as I headed to my car, I could see her moving quickly behind me. She was following me quickly, and she was calling. I got in my car and drove off. And I never went back there again. I don't know what that was all about. That is the end of the Elizabeth in Clapham Woods. That's the end of the story. I didn't go back there. I wanted to, but I just daren't. I just imagined that I go into this pub with her again. I go through this velvet curtain, presumably from our world to her world. I go into her world, into this pub. And I thought, well, what if I can't get back? You know, what happens then? Well, I don't know, it's weird. People have disappeared in Clapham Woods. If you've read some of the news articles, you know, as I said in the other videos, look it up on Google. Ghosts, Clapham Woods, West Sussex, all that sort of thing. Just type it all in. All the stories come up. Animals disappearing, people disappearing, all sorts going on. And I just looked back, and I still do look back, thinking that I could have been one of the people that disappeared. I don't know. What do you think?